If you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, you'll remember a scene where Uma Thurman and John Travolta are pulling up to Jackrabbit Slim's, that screwy restaurant where everyone's dressed like old movie and rock stars. While trying to convince him to go in, Uma tells John that an Elvis man should love it. This refers to a deleted scene from before they leave the house, where Uma is interviewing Travolta with a video camera. She tells him that she believes there are two types of people in this world, Elvis people and Beatles people, and she thinks that John Travolta looks like an Elvis man. Now, I have a similar theory, in fact. Much like the Elvis versus Beatles thing, it has to do with preference in one's entertainment, but it also goes deeper than that. It has to do with how you look at the world, how you wish the world were. Unlike the Elvis and Beatles thing, this is less about the specifics of the choice, but rather what the two choices symbolize. You see, I believe that you can divide the world up into Superman people and Batman people. Consider, Batman is the tortured soul who fights crime as much to soothe the demons of his past as to save those in trouble. He hides in the shadows, alone with his inner turmoil, dressed in dark colors and speaking with a gravelly voice. Other Batman-style characters would include Riddick, Spawn, the Punisher, Wolverine, etc. By contrast, Superman does what he does not because of some inner pain, not because of some past trauma, but because it's the right thing to do. He does good for its own sake, not to appease some inner torment. Superman is all bright colors and heroic deeds, upright and upstanding citizen with principles, defending truth and justice. Other Superman-style characters would include Luke Skywalker, Wonder Woman, Indiana Jones, pretty much any Starfleet captain, etc. And I believe that you could divide the world up into the groups that prefer these style of characters much the same way you could divide the world up into Elvis people and Beatles people. That it says something about your character based on which of these you prefer. Mind you, like anything, this scale is a spectrum, not a binary set. It is so much easier to list the characters that are in between than the ones who are strict Batman or Superman people. Han Solo comes rather quickly to mind, or Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. Both are on the wrong side of the law, yet both are heroes. Both have sarcastic, less than Boy Scoutly attitudes. Both have been known to break the law, but neither is strictly speaking an evil man, and they keep their brooding to a minimum. If anything, Han leans more Superman, and Mal leans a bit more Batman. And I have no idea how to classify characters like Tank Girl. Xena seems to be primarily Superman people, but with a dark Batman past. Her sidekick Gabrielle is definitely Superman by contrast. So there's definitely some wiggle room here. Kynira Baxter, the main character of my webcomic, which you should all be reading, link in the sidebar, is Superman people for sure. She named her spaceship the White Knight. You do the math. And for those of you who are wondering, I am, myself, dyed-in-the-wool Superman people. In fact, I grew up in the 1980s, when Superman people were everywhere. You look at sci-fi, fantasy, and superhero movies from the 80s, and you'll see a vast contrast between the movies since the 90s. Even when the 80s did dark, they didn't really do the dark and tortured that is so popular these days. Take a look at the TV show Max Headroom, for example, set in a dark dystopia. People still seem to have a certain amount of optimism. But in the 90s, at the height of Generation X, it became fashionable to look at the world through hard, jaded eyes. It was the era of the new Batman movies, the rise in popularity for vampires, White Wolf Games' World of Darkness. The goth scene became popularized, the grunge scene with its yeah, whatever attitude, and so on. And it really hasn't dissipated. The tide hasn't shifted in nearly 20 years. So imagine what it's like for us poor Superman people, how few and far between have been the movies or characters who have catered to our preferences. There have been some, but not many. It's a real shame, truly. It's times like these I wish YouTube had poll posting functionality. I'd do a survey of how many of you consider yourselves Superman people or Batman people. Oh, I already know Batman will win. He always does. People seem to love the tortured anti-hero much more than the upstanding citizen hero. I believe there is a masochism inherent in human nature that prefers having a wretched soul fighting back rather than a champion of justice for its own sake. Just look at religion and how it values martyrdom, how it defines us all as worthless sinners who must strive to be better while fighting off the evil devil. Religious people are Batman people, at heart, truly, at least in the Abrahamic tradition anyway. So I know Batman will win. It's human nature. But I'd love to see the proportions. I'd love to see how many of my fellow Superman people are out there. Then again, I might be shocked. Maybe hanging out on sci-fi web boards and palling around with goths in real life has given me a skewed vision of the world, and maybe there are more Superman people out there than I think. You folks, my wonderful subscribers, have surprised me before. Delighted me, in fact. So if you comment, please weigh in. I'd like to hear from you. Until then, up, up, and away!